There is a story the old ones tell in the evenings when the sky is purple and the cooking fires are beginning to calm. They say there was once a drummer in a village who was loved by everyone. Whenever someone called his name, he answered. Whenever there was a celebration, he played. Whenever someone was sad, he played. Whenever the chief wanted music, he played. He played at births, he played at weddings, he played at funerals, he played at quarrels to calm people down. He played when the sun rose and when the moon watched. Soon the people stopped asking, "Can you play for us?" and started saying, "We need you, come now." The drummer's hands began to bleed, but he kept going. His eyes became tired, but he kept going. His heart became empty, but he kept going. One day, the drum broke. No one had ever asked, "Are your hands okay? Do you need to rest? Do you have your own music you want to play?" The village only saw the drum. They never saw the man. The elders shook their heads and said, "The drum that never rests breaks before sunset." This, my friend, is what happens to a person who is always available. This is what Carl Jung pointed to in his own way, and what our African ancestors have warned about for centuries. When you live your life constantly open, constantly accessible, constantly giving your time, your energy, your attention to everyone who asks, you slowly disappear from your own story. And when you finally stop being available, everything changes. Welcome to Silent Drummer. Today, we walk together through the deep psychology and the old African wisdom behind one of the most uncomfortable truths about the human spirit. When you withdraw your constant availability, your relationships, your identity, and your destiny begin to shift. Not because you are becoming cold, but because you are finally becoming real. Chapter 1. The Invisible Currency. Let us begin with something simple. Your availability is a kind of currency. Every time you answer a message immediately, every time you say yes when your soul whispers no, every time you allow people to interrupt your focus, every time you sacrifice your rest to solve someone's chaos, you are spending this currency. In modern psychology, we talk about energy, boundaries, emotional labor. In African villages, the old women sitting by the fire call it something else. Your life force, your ace, your chi, your spirit. The Yoruba speak of ace, the power to make things happen, the force that flows through words, decisions, and presence. It is not infinite, it can be wasted. The Igbo speak of chi, a personal spirit that walks with you, a destiny that must be honored, not thrown away piece by piece to please every passing stranger. The Akan say, if you are always in the marketplace, even a child will command you. In Jungian psychology, we might say, if you have no boundaries, your unconscious will push you into roles that don't belong to you. The point is the same. Your availability is not neutral. It is not harmless. It is not just being nice. It shapes how people see you. It shapes how you see yourself. And if you are not careful, it shapes how your life is used. Chapter 2. Why we fear withdrawal. If being constantly available is so damaging, why do we cling to it? Why is it so hard to pull back? In the language of psychology and philosophy, this fear is rooted in a deep, primal wound, the fear of not being wanted. From the moment we are born, our brain learns one thing very quickly. When I am wanted, I survive. When I am not wanted, I might die. So as children, we learn to become very good at reading the room. Smile when they want you to. Agree when they want you to. Stay quiet when they want you to. Be useful be easy, be available. Slowly we confuse this with love. We begin to believe, if I am always available, I will be loved. If I inconvenience no one, I will be chosen. If I never say no, I will never be abandoned. Carl Jung would say, a part of the psyche, the shadow, is built from all the things we fear might make us unlovable. Our anger, our needs, our limits, our truth. So we bury them, we hide them. We make ourselves smaller, softer, more convenient. In West African terms, it is like taking the fiercest part of your spirit, the lion, the hunter, the queen, and locking it in a hut so that everyone else can feel comfortable. You become the person everyone calls, but no one truly sees. And when the idea comes, what if I stop being so available? The fear rises instantly. What if they leave? What if I am forgotten? What if I become invisible? But here is the paradox. You are already invisible. They see your usefulness, not your soul. Chapter 3. The shadow of the always yes person. In Jungian philosophy, there is a powerful idea. What you refuse to be will control who you become. If you refuse to be someone who disappoints others, you become someone who disappoints yourself. If you refuse to be the villain in someone else's story, you become a ghost in your own. The always available person carries a hidden shadow. On the surface, they are kind, they are helpful, they are generous, they are easygoing. But in the shadow, they are resentful, they feel unnoticed, they feel used, they feel quietly angry. Dark psychology is not always manipulation, seduction, or aggression. Sometimes it is the internal darkness created by denying your own needs for too long. The more you tell yourself, it's fine, it's okay, it doesn't bother me, while something inside you is screaming, this is not right, the bigger your shadow becomes. Our ancestors understood this without using the word shadow. They spoke instead of spirits. They said, if a person swallows their anger every day, one day it will speak with a voice they do not recognize. That is when the laughter becomes sharp, the kindness becomes bitter, the generosity becomes a weapon. This is why some of the gentlest people eventually explode. This is why some of the most available people suddenly vanish. It is not random. It is not madness. It is a broken drum finally refusing to be played. Chapter 4. When the drum goes silent, imagine this. One day the drummer woke up and refused to touch the drum. He walked through the village empty-handed. Children pulled his sleeve. Play for us. He smiled and kept walking. The chief's messenger arrived. The chief wants music tonight. The drummer replied, tonight I will be a man, not a drum. The village panicked. How dare he? What has gotten into him? He has changed. He has become proud. When you stop being available, people react not to who you are, but to the version of you they were benefiting from. Some will feel offended, some will feel betrayed, some will feel abandoned. Not because you harmed them, but because you stopped giving them what they were quietly taking. In African philosophy, there is a saying, when the stream changes its course, it is the animals who complain. The moment you withdraw your constant accessibility, your instant replies, your automatic yes, your habit of rescuing everyone, you will feel the complaint. The modern world teaches us, if they complain, you're doing something wrong. But the elders would tell you, if they complain when you protect your spirit, you're finally doing something right. Chapter 5. The difference between walls and doors. Now listen carefully. Stopping your constant availability does not mean building a wall around your heart. It does not mean you never help. It does not mean you become cold. It does not mean you shut everyone out. African villages are built with compounds and courtyards. There are walls, yes, but there are also gates. A wall says no one enters. A gate says not everyone enters, and not at every time, and not in every way. Boundaries are not walls, they are doors. Being less available does not mean living without love. It means choosing where your love goes. It is the difference between answering messages at 2 a.m. out of fear and answering them tomorrow out of calm, saying yes to every request and saying yes only when your soul can afford it. Giving your time to anyone who asks, and giving your time to those who also care about your well-being. The elders say, if your home has no doorway, the goats will sleep on your bed. If your life has no boundaries, chaos will rest where your peace should be. Chapter 6. The African Psychology of Mystery. There is another layer to this. Availability is not only about time, it is also about mystery. In many African traditions, power is connected to what people do not fully see. The healer does not speak of every ritual. The elder does not share every thought. The hunter does not reveal every path through the forest. Not because they are hiding, but because sacred things lose their strength when they are exposed carelessly. If you are always online, always posting, always updating, always explaining yourself, always defending your choices, always narrating your every move, you do not only lose energy, you also lose mystery. And without mystery, people stop being curious about you. In relationships, friendships, even in how you show up on social media, being a little less available, a little less obvious, a little less on demand, can restore a sense of depth to your presence. Carl Jung said that the psyche is a vast, unexplored forest. African mythologies agree. Our spirits are not simple roads where everyone can walk. They are landscapes full of corners and shadows and rivers and rocks. If you turn your soul into a highway, do not be surprised when people drive fast and never look out of the window. Mystery is not manipulation. Mystery is dignity. Chapter 7. Withdrawal as a rite of passage. In many West African cultures, there are periods where young people are taken away from the village for initiation. The boys go to the forest, the girls go to the women's houses. The noise of daily life is replaced by teaching, silence, challenge, and transformation. In modern terms, we might call this a reset, a retreat, an identity upgrade. What is interesting is this. During this time, they are not available. They are not at home. They are not running errands. They are not fixing everyone's problems. They are not answering every call. They disappear. On purpose. Why? Because the old self cannot fully die while it is still responding to everyone's expectations. If you are always reachable, you remain tied to the version of you that everyone knows. Sometimes withdrawal is not selfishness, it is initiation. It is you walking into your personal forest to hear your own voice separate from the chorus of demands. Psychologically, this is a stage of individuation, the process Jung described where a person becomes a whole self rather than a mask made to please. Spiritually, it is when your ancestors finally find you in the quiet, because you are not busy answering every message, every notification, every request. In this sense, pulling back your constant availability is not an act of aggression. It is a rite of passage. You are no longer the child who must respond to every call. You are becoming the adult who chooses when and how to be present. Chapter 8. The loneliness between two lives. But let us not romanticize this too quickly. When you stop being available, there is a period that feels uncomfortable, even painful, a gap. You might pull back from certain friendships, certain group chats, certain family roles, certain online habits. And suddenly, silence. Your phone is quieter, your weekends are emptier, your calendar has holes in it. There is a loneliness that creeps in, the loneliness between two lives, the old life where you were constantly needed, and the new life where you are not yet known in your true form. But remember, being constantly needed is not the same as being truly valued. A candle is needed in the dark until the sun rises, then no one remembers it. In African wisdom, loneliness is sometimes described as a spiritual desert, a dry season that comes before harvest. You are being emptied so that something new can be planted. In psychological terms, this is the death of an identity, the people pleaser, the rescuer, the always yes person. And like any death, it feels like grief. Let yourself grieve. Let yourself feel strange. Let yourself be that drum sitting in the corner, no longer in everyone's hands, not yet playing its new song. This is where transformation brews. Chapter 9. When you stop chasing, your value rises. There is a harsh truth we must face. Human beings rarely value what is always chasing them. The friend who is always available is often taken for granted. The family member who fixes every crisis becomes the one people only call when there is trouble. The partner who never says no becomes the one no one tries to impress. On a marketplace table, the fruit that no one wants is the one the seller keeps pushing. Take this one. Take this one. Scarcity and effort shape perception. This is not manipulation. This is how the human psyche works. The more you move towards something, the less it feels like it has to move towards you. When you pull back, with love, with calm, with dignity, you are not playing games. You are simply stepping out of the role of the beggar and into the role of the equal. You stop proving, you stop chasing, you stop over-explaining. And something interesting begins to happen. Some people drift away completely. Some people get angry and show you how entitled they always were. And some people wake up. They realize, you were doing more than we saw. You were carrying more than we thanked you for. You had a value we never respected. In African culture, when an elder stops speaking, people lean in. Silence reveals importance. When you stop giving yourself away, those who are meant for you will lean in. Those who are only using you will leave. Both outcomes are a blessing. Chapter 10. The art of loving from a distance. Now we must address something subtle. Stopping your constant availability does not mean cutting love. You can still love someone deeply while no longer being accessible to their every demand. Our ancestors understood this through the idea of loving from a distance. The mother who steps back so her grown child can make their own mistakes. The elder who refuses to intervene so the younger generation can learn. The friend who no longer absorbs every crisis but prays for you from the quiet. Psychologically, this is emotional differentiation, the ability to care without collapsing your own boundaries. Spiritually, it is a form of respect. I honor your path enough to not live it for you. There is a proverb: if you keep carrying a person who can walk, they will never learn the direction of their own feet. When you stop being so available, you are not abandoning people. You are letting them confront their own power. You step out of their story so they can finally become the main character. Chapter 11. Reclaiming your time, your body, your mind. So what does this actually look like in daily life? It looks like small, clear shifts. You do not reply to every message instantly. Not because you are playing games, but because you are present with your current moment. You say, "I can't talk right now, but I can call you tomorrow." Instead of pushing your own needs aside to absorb someone else's urgency. You stop explaining every decision, especially to people who only want to argue, not to understand. You schedule time for your own growth, reading, learning, creating, reflecting, even resting, and you protect it like a sacred appointment. You allow some calls to go unanswered, some invitations to be declined, some obligations to be reconsidered. These are not acts of cruelty. They are acts of stewardship. You are taking responsibility for the life your ancestors gave you. In Jungian language, you are integrating the self, bringing back the parts of you that were exiled to keep everyone else comfortable. In African language, you are gathering your spirit from the corners where it was scattered. Chapter 12. Becoming the Silent Drummer. The name of this channel is Silent Drum. In the beginning of this story, our drummer was exhausted. He played whenever he was summoned. He existed only as sound in other people's celebrations. But a true drummer does something different. A true drummer chooses when to play. They listen to the rhythm of the village, the rhythm of the sky, the rhythm of their own chest. They know that a drum that plays without pause is just noise, but a drum that waits, that holds its power in silence and then strikes at the right moment. That drum commands attention. That drum leads the dance. You are that drum. You are not meant to be available to everyone, everywhere, every time. Your availability is a sacred instrument. It should be tuned, not thrown around. When you learn to sit in silence, to hold back your immediate yes, to feel your own needs before responding to others, you become like the silent drummer. Calm, deep, mysterious, intentional. And when your drum finally speaks, people listen. Your yes has weight, your presence has meaning, your absence has explanation. You are no longer the background music to other people's lives. You are composing your own song. Chapter 13. The costs and the gifts. Let us be honest. Not everyone will celebrate this change. Some relationships will not survive your new boundaries. Some connections will fade when you stop pouring constant attention into them. You will lose some closeness, some comfort, some illusions, but you will gain self-respect, emotional clarity, spiritual alignment, and a sharper sense of who truly walks with you. African philosophy is not about avoiding pain. It is about choosing which pains are worthy. The pain of being used, or the pain of growing, the pain of constant exhaustion, or the discomfort of saying no, the pain of being everywhere but never truly seen, or the tension of stepping back so you can finally see yourself. When you stop being available, everything changes. Not just how others treat you, but how you treat yourself. You might find that you sleep better, you breathe deeper, your creativity returns, your thoughts feel more like your own. You feel the presence of the ancestors more clearly because your life is not so loud anymore. Space appears, and in that space, possibility enters. Chapter 14. A new kind of generosity. There is one more twist in this story. With time, as you rebuild your boundaries, something beautiful happens. You become more generous, but not in the old way, where you gave out of fear, guilt, or habit. You give from a place of fullness. You help when you truly can. You say yes when your spirit agrees. You listen deeply because you are not secretly exhausted. Your availability becomes rare and precious, like water in a clay pot, not like tap water from a broken pipe. People feel the difference. Your time is no longer a default setting. It is an offering, and offerings are respected. In this way, pulling back your constant availability does not make you a harsher person. It makes you a truer person. The African elders say, "A tree that is well rooted gives the best shade." You are that tree. Your roots are your boundaries. Your shade is your love. Chapter 15. Practical steps to change your availability. Stories are powerful, but you may now be asking, how do I actually live this? What does stopping my constant availability look like in a practical, grounded way? Let us bring this down to earth. Step 1. Name your leaks. Take a quiet moment and ask yourself, where does my time and energy escape the most? Is it endless scrolling through social media? Is it saying yes to every favor even when you are tired? Is it answering messages the second they arrive? Is it jumping to solve problems that others could handle themselves? Is it letting people talk for hours while you quietly disappear inside? Write them down. Do not judge yourself. Just see them clearly. In African divination, the first step is always revelation, the uncovering of what is hidden. You are doing the same with your own life. Step 2. Create sacred boundaries in time. Choose small windows of the day that are yours alone. It might be the first 30 minutes after you wake up, one quiet hour in the evening, a midday break where you do not respond to anyone during this time. No phone, no messaging, no fixing, no apologizing for being unavailable. You might sit in silence, you might read, you might stretch, you might talk to your creator or your ancestors. The content is less important than the principle. You are teaching your psyche that it is allowed to exist without being reached. Step 3. Practice slow responses. If you are used to replying immediately, experiment with waiting. You can tell people, "I saw your message. I'll reply when I have time to think properly." This is not rudeness, it is maturity. It signals, "My mind is not a fast food window." In time, people will adjust. Those who cannot accept it are showing you they do not respect your humanity. Step 4. Choose your circles. Availability is also about who has access to you. Look at your relationships. Who leaves you drained? Who leaves you heavy? Who never asks how you are? Who only calls when they need something? Begin gently to create distance. You do not need a dramatic speech. You do not need to fight. Just give less of yourself there and more of yourself where you feel seen, heard, and held. In African tradition, not everyone sits near the fire. Some people watch from far away. This is not hatred, it is wisdom. Step 5. Tell the truth kindly. Sometimes you will have to speak. You will have to say, "I can't be there for everything anymore. I need more time for my own life. I love you, but I am tired." You might be shaking when you say it. Your voice might be small. But this is how new seasons begin. Not with loud triumph, but with small, trembling honesty. The more you practice, the stronger your voice becomes. Chapter 16. 3 questions from the ancestors. If the elders were sitting with you right now under a tree at sunset, they might not give you a lecture. They would ask you questions. Because questions open doors inside the mind that no advice can reach. Here are 3 questions to carry with you after this video ends. Question 1. Who would I be if I was no longer afraid of disappointing people? Sit with this. Breathe with it. Let images arise. Would you rest more, create more, speak more honestly, leave certain spaces, enter new ones? What life appears in your mind when people-pleasing is no longer your master? Question 2. If my ancestors were watching my daily life like a story, would they say I am honoring myself or only serving others? This is not about selfishness. This is about balance. They endured wars, migrations, famine, injustice. They carried hopes you cannot even imagine. Do you think they went through all that just so you could be permanently exhausted, running from one demand to another, never pausing to ask, what do I want my days to mean? Question 3. Where do I feel resentment, and what boundary is asking to be born there? Resentment is not just anger. It is a signal. It says, a limit was crossed but not spoken. Behind almost every quiet resentment is a boundary that was needed but never set. Let resentment guide you to those places. Not so you can explode, but so you can adjust. We do not heal by forcing ourselves to be endlessly patient. We heal by listening to the parts of us that are tired of being stepped on. Chapter 17. A blessing for the one who steps back. In many African cultures, it is common to end a teaching with a blessing, words spoken into the future of the listener. So if you are still here, if these words are echoing somewhere inside, this blessing is for you. May you have the courage to disappoint the expectations that are killing you, so you can finally meet the life that wants to grow in you. May your no become as holy as your yes, each one chosen with care, not fear. May your days no longer be organized only around other people's chaos, but around your own quiet calling. May your phone rest more often face down, while your eyes rise more often to the sky. May you find in silence the voice of God, the whispers of your lineage, the rhythm of your own heart. May the relationships that survive your boundaries be the ones that deserve to walk beside you. May those who cannot handle your growth find their own paths without poisoning yours. May your body remember what rest feels like. May your mind remember what focus feels like. May your spirit remember what freedom feels like. And when you sit alone, wondering if you have made a mistake by stepping back, may a deep knowing rise within you and say, no, this is not abandonment. This is alignment. You are not running away from love. You are running away from self-erasure. You are not rejecting responsibility. You are rejecting bondage. You are learning slowly to be available first to your own soul, so that what you give the world comes from a place of truth, not exhaustion. The drum of your life will still play for others, but from now on, let it also play for you. Let the first rhythm you honor each day be the one inside your chest. And if anyone asks why you have become less available, you may smile and answer, I am not less loving. I am more rooted. I am not becoming selfish. I am becoming whole. In this way, step by quiet step, you will discover what happens when you are no longer everywhere, for everyone, all the time. You will realize that your absence in some places is just as powerful as your presence, and that your life was never meant to be a constantly open door, but a sacred house with chosen guests, sacred seasons, and a center where you. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe.